Concern is growing about a possible Israeli assault on Rafah as airstrikes in the town near the Egyptian border kills 13.
Ukrainian military officials tell Euronews it will take time to see the effects of Zelensky's shakeup of the military command. The European Parliament has backed the use of new genomic techniques on plants, a different and controversial class of gene modification.
At least 13 people were killed, including children and women, in 2 Israeli airstrikes as it targeted residential homes in the west of Rafah, in the southern Gaza Strip. More than half of Gaza's population of 2.3 million people has fled there seeking refuge. Whilst UN Human Rights Chief voiced deep concern about widespread destruction by Israeli defense forces of civilian infrastructure in Gaza.
Extensive destruction of property, not justified by military necessity and carried out unlawfully and wantonly, amounts to a grave breach of the Fourth Geneva Convention and a war crime. Israel has not provided clear reasons for such extensive destruction of civilian infrastructure.
The overnight airstrike came hours after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected a ceasefire proposal from the Palestinian militant group Hamas and said he would expand the offensive into Rafah, to which the White House said it would not support any plans for major operations in the border town.
The announcement of the change of command in the Ukrainian army certainly did create a commotion amongst civilians, divided between those who feel it can really make a difference and those who fear that it can be counterproductive. Now, it certainly did not create a shock or surprise the military I've been speaking to today. They couldn't make an official comment, but told me off camera that for one thing, it's always a good thing to change leadership in the army at whichever level we're talking about. And on the other hand, even if there is a change, whatever happens will take time, and they're saying basically wait and see. They've learned not to expect too much in the difficult situation they're in. And the big news, the concrete news for them was really of the release of 100 prisoners of war. I'm Valerie Goria in the Donetsk region for Euronews.
President Joe Biden will not face charges over classified documents found in his Delaware garage, concluded a report released on Thursday by a former U.S. attorney. It cited Biden's cooperation with investigators, advanced age and memory issues as reasons for not pursuing criminal charges. Trump, on the other hand, is scheduled to stand trial on charges alleging he hoarded classified documents at his Florida estate and obstructed government efforts to get them back.
The European Parliament has passed a resolution condemning Russia's attempts to interfere in EU decision-making. According to the resolution, approved by 433 with 56 against, Russia is pushing to rebuild its network of allies in Europe, and that is a big danger for democracy.
Russia now is recovering, Kremlin is recovering to reorganize their, proxies in different areas. Because in the very beginning, since this war, large-scale war started, we saw that those proxies were silent. Now they're much more brave again to speak, to be outspoken.
Russian meddling in EU policy came to light when a Russian newspaper accused the Latvian Russian-speaking MEP, Tatiana Danoka, of being a Russian Secret Service agent. Speaking at the plenary session on Tuesday, she rejected the charges.
Change of wording. They say Tatiana Ždanoka is an agent. Yes, I am an agent. An agent for peace, an agent for Europe without fascism, an agent for minority rights, an agent for United Europe from Lisbon to Ural.
One Romanian MEP proposed further sanctions against any MEP found to be cooperating with Russia.
If someone in the European Parliament is working obviously for and with Putin, that means that they shouldn't get the chance to speak in this house because their voice is the propaganda voice.
Genomic, who had already been banned from standing in the EU elections in June, is now being investigated by the EU Parliament itself. The president of the European Investment Bank has warned that the green transition might be at risk due to lack of private investment. Nadia Calviño, a former Spanish economic minister who took the role at the beginning of January, said the EU institution will help to build trust among investors for green hydrogen or battery factory projects.
In the slowdown of economic activity and with higher interest rates, it is clear that companies have to think twice about undertaking some of the necessary investments. There is very high uncertainty, geopolitical tension that's also limiting the appetite, the risk appetite of corporations. And that is why the EIB has an important role in de-risking investments.
Farmers have been protesting across several EU countries in recent weeks. One of their demands was to simplify the EU's Green Deal. Calviño believes that the bank can help farmers and citizens alike in coming to terms with the green transition.
We need to support the agricultural sector in undertaking the necessary investments. We need to support heavy industry to make these adjustments. We need citizens to have access to affordable green technologies if we want the process to be a success. There are challenges, but there are also opportunities.
According to the European Investment Bank, the number of companies investing in energy efficiency is sharply increasing. The bank will also play a key role in Ukraine's reconstruction. It has already invested €2 billion in the war-torn country.
The European Parliament has voted in favor of more relaxed regulation for the use of new genomic techniques known as NGTs on plants. Some experts argue that our food system could become more sustainable with their help, since plants may become more resilient to climate change and resistant to pests. But what exactly are these techniques?
Les nouvelles technologies permettent de cibler plus précisément d'une manière chirurgicale comme un ciseau les gènes au sein du génome, d'une manière bien précise, sans toucher toutes les autres parties du génome et introduire la fonction ou améliorer la fonction qu'on veut. Donc il y a un gain de temps qui est énorme et c'est encore plus important que c'est plus précis et on va cibler que la partie qui nous intéresse à améliorer.
Professor Bendaman believes that NGTs could play a crucial role in addressing the impact of climate change on agriculture. He hopes they prevent crop losses caused by early flowering, something that is happening more and more frequently. Across Europe, this method is currently regulated in a similar way to genetically modified organisms, GMOs. But how alike are the two techniques?
Ces technologies sont totalement différentes de la transgénèse qu'on utilisait avant, puisque dans la transgénèse, on introduit un gène nouveau. Ici, on ne fait que modifier un gène déjà présent.
However, some farmers and former farmers, such as Christian Foyeret, view these NGT-modified plants as potentially harmful to agriculture.
Les NGT font partie de mes revendications et des revendications de la Confédération paysanne. C'est une grosse inquiétude si ça passe, parce qu'on part sur le brevetage du vivant et avec toutes les dérives qu'il peut y avoir, on sera sur une agriculture encore plus productiviste, capitaliste et tout ça.
In Europe, over the last 50 years, there has been a 30% decline in harvests, leading some to push for a change in the way agriculture is managed. However, despite the NGT method being used across the world, the European Food Safety Authority has warned of potential safety concerns regarding its application.
Bonjour, je suis Mathieu Orcel. Nous nous trouvons sur l'Assis à Nitry, en Bourgogne, une région traditionnellement paysanne de la France. Aujourd'hui, l'autoroute est bloquée par des centaines de tracteurs. Depuis de nombreuses années, la colère gronde dans les campagnes françaises, mais aujourd'hui, la situation semble être sur le point d'éclater. Quelles sont les raisons d'une telle colère et d'une telle mobilisation? C'est ce que je vous raconte dans Witness sur Euronews.
On en vient même à se dire, demain, qui va nous nourrir? Parce qu'on n'est pas sûr d'être encore là. On va retrouver dans les magasins qui sont tout autour de l'agneau de Nouvelle-Zélande, qui aura fait 18 000 km. Et ça touche nos voisins allemands, grecs, espagnols, ça touche vraiment beaucoup de pays autour. C'est pas pour rien. Donc à quand la remise à plat en fait et la prise de recul? Pourquoi est-ce qu'on ne veut pas se remettre en cause? Nous, on se remet en cause tous les jours sur nos exploitations.
C'est une fatigue générale sur une charge mentale très lourde.
C'était long, mais on a fini par y arriver. Et puis maintenant, il n'y a plus qu'à rester. On va essayer de rester jusqu'à ce qu'il annonce quelque chose de convenable.
Moi, pour ma part, je trouve que les dernières annonces, l'intonation de voix a été quand même complètement différente sur la volonté de travailler avec la profession pour trouver des solutions. On est escorté. Faut pas que je rate le coche. On se rappelle?
Ça marche.
Merci beaucoup.
Bonne route, Xavier.